Hello students, in my previous lecture we were discussing about the male reproductive system. We have studied about the internal structure of testes and which is the primary sex organs. If you remember the structure of testes, that it is oval in shape and it is contained in scrotum or a scrotal sac. So this is the scrotum and this is a oval structure, testis. Here I have told you that the sperm formation is taken place in seminiferous tubules, and here the formed sperms are conducted through various ducts. So here these are fine ducts called as vasa efferentia, which opens up into the highly coiled duct and this is called as epididymis. This epididymis is a structure which is further differentiated. This is just like this structure. So this is the highly coiled tubules, highly coiled duct, which is differentiated into three portions. The upper portion, which is called as head, also called as caput epididymis, and the middle portion is called as body or corpus epididymis. Now the last portion is called as tail or cauda epididymis. So here the sperm formation is taking place in seminiferous tubule, and from seminiferous tubules these are conducted through the duct retetestes, and from retetestes to fine ducts which are called as vasa efferentia, and from vasa efferentia these ducts open into the highly coiled tube, and epididymis is approximately 6 meter long. So from here epididymis, the sperms moves to the last portion of the epididymis where it rests up to 18 to 24 hours, and here the sperms attained physiological maturity. So now I will tell you the different structures that participates in the conduction of sperms. Now these are the two pair of testes which are surrounded by scrotum or scrotal sac. I am drawing only one, and these are not far apart, but I am drawing this to have such a clear idea about the conduction. So this is the testes, and I told you from here the highly convoluted tubule. This is the epididymis. Tubule is present. At the end of this tubule another duct arises. This duct is called as VasDifference. So this duct is called as VasDifference, and it is ascending upside from the scrotal sac through inguinal canal to abdominal cavity. So this is the abdominal cavity, pelvic region. Here there is a urinary bladder. So this convoluted tubule, this vas deferens, this is also a duct. This take a U-turn or U-loop, and this duct opens into the urethra. So this is a urinary bladder, and this urinary bladder opens into urethra. So urethra is the opening of urinary bladder, and this duct, which is ascending upward and enters into the abdominal cavity, it opens into the urethra. And when the both sided, means one duct is also coming from here and opens here. This is also a vas deferens. So when both the vas deferens from these two testes opens into the urethra, these form a structure which is common for both urine as well as for sperm. And this part or this duct is called as urogenital duct. This is the common passage for both urine and sperms or male gametes. Before joining this, there is a small swelling like structure which is called as ampulla. This swelling like structure before joining the urethra, this is called as ampulla, and from here a small tubular duct is present which is called as seminal vesicle. So these ducts are present in pairs. Here also one duct is present as seminal vesicle, and when after this seminal vesicle, this gland, now this duct is now called as ejaculatory duct. Again, one walnut shape duct is present over here, and this duct is called as gland. This gland is called as prostate gland. You will not be able to see the structure, this internal structure, due to this prostate gland. If until or unless this prostate gland is removed, then you will be able to see the internal structure which I have just taught. So this urogenital tract moves downward, and it is surrounded by a highly muscular structure which is called as penis, and this is the external genitalia or copulatory organ. This moves downward. At the end there is a swollen structure called as glans penis. This is a slightly swollen structure called as glans penis. Then at the end of this, a foreskin, or there is a loose skin called as foreskin or prepuce. And this opening is called as urogenital aperture. Which aperture? Urogenital aperture. So this is the structure which is helpful in the regulation or conduction of sperms from testes to the different ducts and glands. So here from testes it moves through the vas deferens, which moves up and enters into the abdominal cavity in the pelvic region, where it joins with the urethra and forming the common duct for urine as well as for sperms. And this common pathway or passage is called as urinogenital duct. Before joining the urethra, there is a swelling like a structure which is called as ampulla, and this ampulla opens up into a tubular gland which is called as seminal vesicle. These are present in pairs, and after this this duct is called as ejaculatory duct. So when the sperms moves upward through the vas deferens, it passes through the seminal vesicle gland and moves into the ejaculatory duct, and from ejaculatory duct these are poured out into the urethra as well as this opening. So this common passage is now called as urinogenital duct. And here there is another gland which is a walnut shape, and this gland is called as prostate gland. This passage continues downward with the structure. This structure is called as penis, or the male copulatory organ or external genitalia. At the end, this structure is swollen, which is called as glans penis, and at the end of this, this is guarded by the folding of skin, and this is called as foreskin or prepuce. And this aperture, it is a slit-like aperture. And which is known as urinogenital aperture. So this is the whole pathway of the sperm conduction, and these three glands are present here at the base of this. At the base of this, another small paired gland is present, which is known as Cowper's gland or bulbourethral glands. Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland. So this is all about the conduction of sperms in the male reproductive system. In my next lecture, I will define these three glands and their secretion. What is the secretion of these glands and why this is helpful in the whole conduction or mobility of sperms. So in our next lecture, I will tell you about these glands and other structures.